You can see by the calendar, we have another roster update finally. It's been 3 weeks since the last one, 4 weeks until this next roster update that's coming out on July 11th, this Friday. So, of course, that means we're going to be doing roster update investments. So let's get into it. So the first guy we're going to talk about is Suzuki. He was a big candidate last roster update, and he only got a +1. He did not make diamond. He's currently going for $26.50 on the market, so he's already pretty expensive. And I'm kind of only mentioning him in this video because I think he's going to go diamond, but I honestly don't think he's an insane investment. Basically, since the last update, which was June 13th, he's been pretty solid. He's hit only like 245, 856 OPS, 7 homers, and 18 RBIs. The big highlight of his stats is the power. He has had an OPS right at 1,000 versus righties, so I think the power versus righties is going to go up. Power versus lefties could go up a little, but I think the power versus righties is going to get a big boost and is going to take him to an 85. I don't think he's going to go above an 85 because all of his other hitting stats, I don't think power versus left is going to go down, but I think his contact versus left could go down a little. So I think the power boost is going to take him to diamond, but I don't think he's going to go above an 85. Now, Cody Bellinger has been floating around diamond this whole year. He was an 84, then he went down to an 83, then he went back up to an 84. Now, I think he has a pretty solid chance. He's going for around 2,200, so he is a little more expensive, but you could still make stubs. I think Cody Bellinger is only going to get a +1 as well as Suzuki. Ultimately, since the last update, he's been crushing lefties, but he's been pretty bad against righties. And if you look at his card, you know what that means. I mean, his stats versus righties are already pretty bad, so I don't think they're going to change. But his contact left is already at 112. Don't think that's going to go up. His power left, I think, is going to get a big boost, and I think that is going to single-handedly determine if he goes diamond or not. Is it going to be enough to make him go diamond? I don't know. This is the only card in this video that I don't have any investments in. He kind of just was a late riser recently, but I think the power left boost is going to determine if he makes diamond. Randy Rodriguez has been an amazing reliever all year for the Giants, and he's continued that since the last update. He has not given up a single run in 8 innings. He's had 9 strikeouts, only giving up 4 hits and 3 walks. I think across the board he should be getting more upgrades. He's been probably the best reliever in the National League this season. He's going to be on the All-Star team that gets announced tonight. He's been amazing. He's also a little more expensive at 2,200. That's why you buy these guys at quick sell right when the new roster update is released. I've said that a million times, but ultimately Randy Rodriguez, I would be surprised if he didn't go diamond. But I think his main upgrades are going to be hits per 9, walks per 9. I don't think Ks per 9 is going to go up, but I think everything else should. Here's another reliever, Edwin Diaz from the Mets, and I think that this is a little different than Randy Rodriguez. He's going for around 2,000. He just went up a lot, I think either today or yesterday. Yeah, he's rose in price dramatically over the last few days. Edwin Diaz obviously has the track record of being one of the best relievers in baseball. He's proven that he is one of the best relievers in baseball. But if you look at his player card, he already is in the hundreds for hits and Ks per 9. His pitching clutch is pretty high. He's going to need a walks per 9 upgrade to go diamond, and I think that he could get it. Since the last update, 6 2/3, 0 earned runs, 11 strikeouts, 5 hits, and 0 walks. He's done a better job with walks this year, and I think that although he doesn't have much room to grow, I think he could still get increases in the hits and Ks per 9, but it won't really impact his overall that much. I think the walks per 9 and maybe the home runs per 9, I think those are both going to take him to diamond. Eugenio Suarez has been an absolute beast for the Diamondbacks this year. They've had a pretty disappointing year, but he's been one of the bright spots for them. He has been amazing. Since the last update, he's hitting 333, 1153 OPS, 9 homers, 21 RBIs. His stats versus righties have been dominant throughout the whole season, as you can see with the 100 power. I think that his lefty stats could definitely go up in this update, which is what's holding his overall back. In the window since the last update, he's hit 375 with 1700 OPS. Small sample size on only 16 at-bats, but I think that he could still get upgrades, and he'll still get upgrades against righties too. I think he's just going to get upgrades across the board offensively. He's also a little more expensive, but you'll still be making stubs if he goes diamond. Aroldis Chapman is the third reliever in this video. I can't believe I'm saying this, dude, for the Red Sox as a Yankees fan. But ultimately, it's kind of the same situation as Edwin Diaz, has a track record. I mean, he has a really solid chance to make the Hall of Fame when he finally retires. But ultimately, Aroldis Chapman, he's been amazing for the Red Sox this year since the last update. 6 2/3 innings, 0 earned runs, 12 strikeouts, 1 hit, 1 walk. So he's been better than Edwin Diaz. Aroldis Chapman doesn't have as good of Ks per 9 as Edwin Diaz, so he has more room to grow there. He's been striking out people. The walks per 9 is what ultimately is going to determine him. I think he's going to get hits per 9 and Ks per 9 are going to go up, but it's not going to impact his overall that much because they're already super high. I think the walks per 9 is going to get a big increase because he hasn't been walking that many people lately, and I think that he could go diamond. He's pretty expensive though, so I mean you'd only be making 400. Andy Pages, his development this year has been phenomenal to see for the Dodgers. He has turned into a great offensive player, and there's a little thing I'm going to mention at the end of Andy Pages too for the future. Ultimately, Andy Pages is a great candidate for diamond. Since June 13th, he's hit 321 with a 926 OPS, 5 homers, 18 RBIs. Versus righties, he's hit 375 and a 940 OPS since June 13th. So those stats should certainly go up, especially power. I think his power numbers are going to go up a lot. I think across the board he should get increases on offense. But here's the thing about Andy Pages. He's only 1980. He's around 2,000. So there is certainly risk with you're risking 800 stubs per Andy Pages that you buy. For Andy Pages, he's not going to go down. He is going to get hitting upgrades, and even if he doesn't go diamond, I've begun to look into fielding upgrades because that's probably going to be the next roster update. So if you're still watching this video, there's a little thing for you to look out for. Andy Pages has been a very good fielder, so I think his fielding upgrades are going to go up. So even if he doesn't go diamond this update, he will be probably one of the strongest candidates, assuming that he doesn't go into a complete slump. Now I have 2 investments that are very, very cheap and very low risk. First is Sedani Raphael. I don't know if that's how you say his name, Sedani Raphael. I'm just going to say Sedan, but if I'm butchering that, I apologize. But anyway, Raphael, if you look at this player card, defense is just unbelievable. I mean, the guy is elite out there in center. He can play second and short. That's what's making his overall be so good with those pathetic hitting attributes. But he's been hitting for Boston since the last update. He's hit 265 with an 845 OPS with 4 homers and 12 RBIs, and those numbers might not be amazing overall. If you go into his splits versus righties since the last update, 295 with a 962 OPS. And if you look at those stats versus righties, I mean, 65 contact right, 41 power right, those have to get a big increase. And if you look at his inside edge, him getting a +3 versus lefties already gives him a +1, and he's only at the quick sell of an 82. So you only need him to go +1 to get all your stubs back and eliminate all the risk, even though there isn't that much. I got a ton of Raphaelas. I think that diamond might be a long shot, but ultimately if he keeps hitting righties really well, he could, maybe crawl up to an 84, maybe even have a chance at diamond. And last but not least, we have my favorite investment of this update, Matt Olsen. He obviously has a great track record of being an elite power hitting first baseman. This season, the Braves have had a really tough year, but Matt Olsen has been one of the lone bright spots. Since the last update, he's overall hitting 370, 1033 OPS with only 3 homers but 19 RBIs. He's just going to get hitting attribute upgrades across the board for everything, really. Both of his splits are balanced too. So both of his OPSs are in the 1000s, both of his averages are in the 300s for left and right. So just all of those attributes should go up. And if you remember what I said about Andy Pages, it's the same thing with Matt Olsen. He's graded out as a really, really good defender on Baseball Savant for outs above average at first base, and his fielding numbers are really, really bad. So I think that Matt Olsen is going to go up to an 83, maybe an 84, strictly off of offense this update. And in the next update, if he keeps hitting, not only will he get more offensive upgrades, but he'll get a defensive upgrade. So if he continues to hit the way he has for a couple more weeks, he's probably not going to go diamond this update, right? But if he continues to hit the way that he has, he is going to potentially go to like 86, 87 with a fielding upgrade, and he's only 800 stubs. So you need a +1 to make stubs. And then lastly, we have James Wood of the Nationals. I don't even need to read off stats. You guys know how good he's been this year for the Nationals. I can't believe he wasn't an all-star starter. I hate fan voting. But anyway, James Wood is an interesting one because he's around 1,400 at an 80 overall. So he's well above quick sell value. But this James Wood investment is literally a carbon copy of Jacob Wilson from the last update. Jacob Wilson was an 80 overall gold. He was going for the quick sell of an 84. I didn't invest in him because there was too much risk associated with it, and he got a +5 and he went to diamond, so I missed out on that. James Wood, I'm not going to let that happen again. Obviously, the defense is not good, but another thing too is in the future, he could get a defensive upgrade. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been pitiful, so that's it for the next update. But regardless, offensively alone, I mean, this guy needs upgrades across the board. He's been absolutely amazing. He's been a top 10 hitter in the entire MLB. And he's only 1,400, so obviously there's risk. But I think James Wood has a legit chance at diamond for this Friday. I think it's not very high. I'd say like 30% chance he goes diamond. But even if he goes to an 83 or an 84 and he keeps hitting the way he has, he's going to be a great candidate for diamond in the future. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys are new here, follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. But most importantly, make sure to subscribe on your YouTube. So yeah, see you guys next one. Peace.